Hey folks, welcome back to the Portable Gamer. Welcome back to American Truck Simulator, and welcome to City of Seattle, Port of Seattle. We're in our 378, which is really the Viper 389. We're going to pick up and we're going to head to Coos Bay, Oregon, but we're going to take the coast road down instead of the 5. I think that'll be a fun trip. So, brake is off. Flashers are off. I think we can do okay without lights. We're just pulling in here to pick up. I don't think we need lights in the yard. So we're right through here. Port of Seattle is a little bit tricky, I have to say, and we'll circle back to that momentarily. Because if you noticed, I've been away for a week, at least away from Truck Sim, and I'll tell you why. So we're taking, where is it? Coos Bay, right up on top. So we're taking electronic components, 6 tons of electronics components down to Coos Bay. And we're going to hop over here to Aberdeen and then just go down the coast. Probably not a good idea. And, I mean, I don't think you would do that either way, whether you had a long box on or a short one. I don't think you would do it either way because it is so twisty. Unless you were going to a city or a town out that way, right? That you had to be on the coast road. But with this long trailer, I think it's potentially a bad idea. But you know what? Ain't never stopped me before. Common sense is not always a part of my program. Right. Let's get hooked up. So yeah, I took a week off from Truck Sim. I took a week off from all gaming other than Farm Sim. Still recorded Farm Sim, but everything else I had to step back for a minute. Carefully through here. And is it this one? It's the next one. Yeah, it's a little tight in here. So trying to record ATS last week was sort of the catalyst for it because it took me, I don't know. I mean, normally I can just record a video, start, finish, put it into edit, good to go. Sometimes it takes a little effort. Where is our box? Why am I not seeing it? So we're getting the skip dialogue. There it is. Ooh, okay. So if we spin this all the way around, ooh, careful, Dominoes. I could not record to save my life. I started this video probably 6 times, 8 times, and it was like something just always happened. I got lost in the port one time. The game crashed one time. Well, the game crashed first. I started with the Aerodeath Volvo, and oh god, it's the other way. All right, so we got to go down here and turn around. All right. Yeah, it's happening again. You want to just skip? Yeah, let's just skip. There we go. Discretion is the better part of valor, yo. All right. So we'll hop back in here now. Here's the next tricky part. How do we get out of here? I think. Can we get through there that way? I think we can. All right, here we go. I had game crashes with the Aerodeath Volvo. I got lost in the Port of Seattle. I was really struggling, and I stopped recording ATS, turned the game off. And then for about a week, I turned everything else off too. I still recorded Farm Sim, but I really didn't do a lot of gaming last week. Certainly not racing sims or driving sims or any type. I mean, most of the gaming that I do, virtually all of the gaming that I do is sim gaming. And I just stepped away from it. I think I was a little burnt out. And that's a weird place to be because this is a hobby for us. It's something we do for fun. And the idea that you would burn out on something that you do for fun is kind of weird. But I think we need to keep in mind that these games are not, I use like the Mario Kart example. They are fun, but they're pretty intense and they're kind of involved. and they're a little bit more mentally demanding, I guess, than games were when we were kids. They will definitely take it out of you. And then you add the extra frustration of that PC life. And I'm not complaining. You know, if it's that bad, get on console. It's not that bad, but it is a reality. Do we need to wait for a green light here? I think we do. Yeah, Port of Seattle is tricky. They've really put some time and effort into this. There's our green light. Fantastic. Right through here. We'll get on the road. And, oh, before I forget. Speaking of not really, like, being able to keep my wits about me, we want to go down this way. This way. There we go. Is that twisty enough for you? Down to Coos Bay. We're not going to make it in one trip, but we will make it. Through here. Carefully. Carefully. Here we go. Oh, that was easy. So, right, Friday for me, Saturday for you. Lights on. Wipers are on. We're good to go. And I have to say, I had a pretty good week. It was good. It was good to step away from sim gaming for a minute. And things have been in a bit of a holding pattern as far as at least the sim games that I'm into. There's really not a lot of movement at the moment. There's going to be some in the next, probably in the next few weeks, the next month or two. I know Farm Sim Platinum is going to be released in a couple weeks. I know Utah for ATS is getting, they say it's getting very close, but I thought Road to the Black Sea was very close months ago. And instead we have still been waiting ever since for that. So we'll see what happens. Swing a little wide with this big box. We'll see what happens. It's always good and bad when a new DLC, a new map DLC is released for Truck Sim. It's good because we get a new area to play in, but it generally means there's going to be a patch, and that sort of tears everything up for mods momentarily. And I know you can opt out of beta in the Steam store, and the game will never, it will never go to a exit left. Okay, so that's over here. Moment, sir. We got it. If you opt out of the beta program, the game will only ever update to a full retail patch. It will only update to a I don't want to say a bug-free patch, but it won't put you in a beta patch that may have some bugs where they're still, you know, gathering data or what have you. But regardless of whether you're in that beta program or not, the new patch will very often, I say very often, it's almost guaranteed that it will break some or all of your mods. So in the same way that you can opt out of in the same way that you can opt out of the beta patch, it'd be fantastic if you could have the game essentially hold itself at the previous patch until all your mods are updated. Can't happen, won't happen, and the reason why it can't and won't happen, just notice there are no wheels on that ambulance in front of us. That's terrifying. Hopefully hopefully that doesn't happen to too many vehicles. That does happen periodically though. That can't happen because there are too many different mods, and there are too many mods that we have that are not in the Steam store, and right, it's impossible. But that would be ideal for me, where the game did not roll forward to the new patch until all my mods have been patched. It's wishful thinking. Can't happen. But that would be great, because a new DLC, like I said, a new DLC indicates a new patch. Ooh. And a new patch typically means we're going to lose our mods, and it's just going to be a whole scene. And I know I got into it with some people about the Washington DLC. because I did have a couple crashes, and I had them at the same place. And moment. I had them at the same place regardless of what truck and what cargo I was carrying, and it's okay. You know, it just means there's a bug that needs to be sorted out. And eventually they did sort it out, and I don't have that problem anymore, and the game runs crash-free. But in the few days following the release of the Washington DLC, I did have some crashes. Talking to people on the forum, and I mean, you know, fanboys. They defend their game. They defend their sim. Their sim has never had any problems. There's never been anything wrong with it. And it's frustrating because that's not, sir, that's not realistic. Essentially what they're saying is that when SCS or any company releases a new game or a new patch or a new whatever, that it's perfect, there's nothing wrong with it, and any problems that you're encountering are your fault. And I think, well, if that's the case, then why would they ever release any sub patches, right? So we get 1.36 will be the next one, and then a few days after we'll get 1.36.2, .3, .115, what have you. You know how this works. So there's always bug fixes, and I go back and forth. When I think about developers, you know, they have this opportunity now to release a product that's not done and then fix it later. And I don't think really at any time in history there's been a model like that where you can send out a product that's not done. But software and games are a unique kind of service offering in that they're constantly evolving. You know, if you sell somebody a car, it's not like a year later, roads are different and that car needs to be adjusted to function on those new roads. But with gaming or with software technology, what have you, you've got Windows constantly evolving, right? So yeah, things do need to change and things do need to evolve. And so it's a model that developers take advantage of. But I guess what I'm getting at is there is going to be that window of frustration. Maybe, is that too strong a word for it? That window of frustration where we're waiting for everything to sort itself out. The game, the patch, the DLC, the mods, we're waiting for everything to get back to where it was. And once we do get it sorted out, and we can just play our sim for weeks or months in a row, I think it's easy for me anyway. It's easy to sort of forget, right, that we ever had those problems. And then when you have them again, it's like, oh yeah, that. So I'm looking forward to the new DLCs, but I am sort of dreading it as well because it is a process. Now, I did have somebody, when we were going back and forth in that discussion, I did have somebody say, well, the way to avoid that is to just start a clean profile. Actually, they said reinstall the game and just start a clean profile. And it's like, yeah, I see where you're headed. I mean, I see what you're getting at. But I don't know if that necessarily works in real life. You know, I don't know if that's necessarily a viable option every time the game patches up to throw away hundreds of hours of playtime, game time. I almost said work, and I need to remind myself that this is not work. I don't think it ever really can be work. And I know I've said before in Farm Sim, either in video or in real life or whatever, you know, you lose a save game, you lost all that work. And I guess in a broad sense we mean, you know, farm work, because that's what people do on farms. They work, and we're simulating farming, so call it work. But it's really not work. It's gaming, you know. There's people working right now. Well, there's people working really hard right now all over the world. I'm talking like really hard, like digging for coal, pick and shovel work. And to call gaming work, I think, is disrespectful to them. But you know what I mean. We lose that time. We lose that effort. So the idea of just starting a new save game every time the game patches, sure, that'll solve all your problems. But, you know, is that really how we want to do it? I saw, I can't even remember what game it was. But the developers were jumping in It was it was a developer forum. Yeah, it was a forum on the developer's webpage, and periodically somebody with the unique tag in their name that indicated they were part of the development team jumped in, and their suggestion was, the basic stuff: reinstall drivers, like in order. Reinstall drivers. Okay, can do that. Verify game file integrity. Okay, I can do that. Reinstall the game. That takes a little longer, but I can do that. And then it got into stuff like revalidate your BIOS installation. Oh, all right. This is getting a little more involved. And then their final solution was, hey, you know what? If nothing else works, go ahead and reinstall Windows. Our game is fine. We don't have any problems, but you may need to reinstall Windows. And I think, yeah, brother, if you're telling people to reinstall Windows, maybe your game is not perfect. Maybe it does have a little something that could use some attention. So it is the PC life. What are you going to do? Getting to Aberdeen. We're going to make our turn south here. So what the hell was I talking about? Man, if you're new to the channel, and the channel is growing, so we got some new people watching videos. If you're new to the channel, this is what it's like around here. We just, we sim game, we chat a little bit, shooting the breeze as we're driving a truck. Mostly it happens when we drive the truck and the train, because we've got some long, uninterrupted periods of time where I can yak at you. So I also saw Train Sim World has a new DLC coming, and people are going to be pissed because it's Germany and it's using locos that we already own, which has been one of the complaints with Dovetail. Can't see the light. There it is. Can I see the light? Can I see that light? I can't see that light. I'm going to have to trust this little pickup truck next to me. All right, here we go. That's been a complaint about Dovetail from early days, that at least for Train Sim World and now Train Sim World 2020, the complaint has been, come on, man, we got the UK, Germany, and the US. There are other train routes. There are other countries in the world. And they seem to be kind of hung up on those. And the fact that we are again reusing rolling stock. Don't hit the sign. We don't hit the sign. I think has people a little bit miffed, and I sort of don't blame them. I know there was some DLC that allowed us to not just buy rolling stock, but to use it in other routes, and all of it put together. Some of the DLC for Dovetail really does just feel. I understand it takes work to add a loco to a route, even if it's a route that you already have and a loco that you already have. I understand that there is work and time that goes into making that happen, but it just doesn't always feel, like SCS as an example. When they release a DLC, it's generally either big, right, like a map DLC, or they just released for ATS, was it? Yeah, they just released the Mercedes tuning pack, and it was like $3 or something. Okay, that works. That's a nice, not compromise, what's the word? That's fair, right? Not too expensive, and you don't really get a lot for it. You just get some tuning parts, but they got to make money, they got to pay bills, I get it. And then we'll get a map DLC, and that's going to be a lot bigger, a lot more comprehensive, and probably 4 times, 5 times the price. Okay, that's fair. And I feel like Dovetail does not have their pricing sorted out in the same way to be consistent as far as what you're getting versus what you're spending. So that's we'll see. I mean, I'll definitely get it and I'll bring it to the channel, but it's going to look very similar to what we already have, and I'm not enough of a rail fan to be able to spot why this particular route is significant or historical or unique or special. I don't want to say it all looks the same, but like on the US side, the Peninsula Corridor route, which is California coast, looks significantly different than the Northeast Corridor route. But a lot of the German routes, to me, look very similar. Now, the UK routes do seem different, one from another, and the rolling stock is pretty different for the different routes. One of them's a heritage railway, so of course that's going to seem very different. But you see what I'm getting at, the German stuff, a lot of it looks like the same locos on the same route. And I can see why people are not happy about that. Because Train Sim World has been out, 2 years. And I think when I totaled it up, I've already got like $350 into it. Yeah, like if you get all the DLC one at a time, as I did, you can bundle some of it now. I think when you buy the game, it comes with 2 or 3 routes, 4 routes. But when I bought it one piece at a time, like the day that things are released, it does get kind of spendy. And so I don't always feel like it's a great value. But that has been a complaint about Dovetail and the Train Simulator franchise for a while now. Concentrating. Don't hit the cop. There we go. Straighten out the view, and now we'll get into the twisties. So yeah, that's happening. And I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, there's it's been kind of a lull, I have to say. It's been a bit of a dead zone since probably end of July. There's been a couple things. There's been a few things that have happened in sim gaming. And, well, I say sim gaming. In the sim games that I play, I know there are others. I know there's an alternative truck sim right now that is, at the moment, pretty disappointing. But I think it's got potential. I think it could be maybe not a competitor for truck sim, but I think it could be something. You know, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, truck sim on day one was not necessarily great. A lot of games on day one, a lot of franchises, particularly from smaller developers, when you look back at the original game, not always that impressive. Carefully. Or even something like Farm Sim. Now it's evolved with the technology and it's evolved with the times. When you look at Farm Sim, what's the first one? 11? I don't know. It's a while ago. It's not that great looking a game, and there's not really a ton that you can do. I'm glad that the game caught enough traction that the developers were able to make enough money to keep their staff paid, keep working on the game, because they are bringing it along. There's still things to solve, and there's still frustrations with Farm Sim, but I think as the franchise continues to grow, if they can strike a balance between console players and PC players, I think that game will continue evolving. I hope it does. I enjoy it. I think 17 may have been the high water mark, but we'll see. But it was not great 10 years ago, day one. So this new truck sim, I don't know. Maybe it'll turn into something. Maybe it won't. We'll see. I know there's a bus simulator that I want to try, and those seem to struggle as well. And I'm not sure why, because it seems like the truck sim and train sim crowd would be all over bus simulators. And for some reason, they're not. They don't seem as popular. Also, Subway Simulator. There is one, but I have to say I don't find it to be very good. And it's the same sort of deal that, isn't that just a train simulator but underground? And there are sections of the Rapid Transit DLC that are essentially a subway, right? Same. I don't know, man. Making a game, I suspect, is a lot harder than any of us would think at first. I'm talking like really hard. I mean, you get the project management aspect of just running a team of 10 or 30 or 100 people, right? You got the project management aspect. You've got, and we'll use Farm Sim as an example. I'm running Seasons now. Seasons has been out for a couple months, but I'm getting fired up. I'm using Seasons in Gaislesburg map. And I'm realizing that I wanted to know from the beginning, why wasn't this included in base game code? Right? The technology is there. Realismus Modding has done all the heavy lifting. All they needed to do was license it from Realismus and bring it into the game. I mean, Realismus gives seasons away. It's free to use, free to have. I'm trying to stop so I can see. Oh, just the bottom of the light, just the very bottom of it. So it's not like Realismus is putting the screws to Giants and saying, you know, you got to pay us tons and tons of money to use this mod. They give it away. So, right? See what I'm getting at? Oh, this is a crazy looking bridge. Here we go. And yet for some reason Giants did not bring that into base game. And I think what I finally realized is, why would they? You know, they don't need to. Their core player, their core gamer, is a casual console gamer who very likely can't use seasons because it's scripted and you can't have it on console. That's right, isn't it? You can't. There's no seasons on console. I think that's the case. Yeah. So their core user can't play seasons and doesn't want it anyway. So why would they put any time or effort at all into developing seasons or bringing seasons into the game? And I think a lot of developers have that same take. You know, this is hard enough. Running a project like this is hard enough, and figuring out what our customer base wants, what our players want, and oh dear. All right, looks like we got to do a little. You seen this on the sat nav? This is going to be a little tricky with this big trailer. All right, I ain't scared. As long as we don't have any traffic coming up the hill, we should be okay. Oh, was using too many thumbsticks at the same time. All right.
Get ready to turn right.
I'm ready to turn right, brother. So bottom line is, I can't imagine how hard it is to develop a game and even just get it working. There's several, I would say, independent. Do we have a light? We have a stop sign. We have a light and it's green. Here we go. There's some indie games and some early access games that I'm following. Get back there, good over here. Here we go. And they seem like nice enough folks. Most of them. There's one development team. I won't mention the sim. I won't mention the game. But there's one development team. They seem like serious a-holes. But for the most part, these seem like nice people. You know, passionate about gaming, and they have a vision. They have an idea, and they're trying to make it real and share it with the rest of the world. That's awesome. Love it. And they're struggling, and I think that's the case with any business, with any new project, whatever. It's going to be challenging, but I still, the complexity of designing a game it amazes me. It really does. The fact that they can make these games work for us at all, it's crazy. Love it. So anyway, I think maybe I had a point there a couple 100 miles ago. Maybe? I don't know. Possibly not. I tend to, I wouldn't say that I zone out when I'm driving the truck, but I do, you know, we're just driving and chatting. Not really thinking too hard about this stuff. Trying not to. So anyway, that is about it. Let's get a good gear. Here we go. Let's go. Third person, take a look at this. Fantastic. Love it. In fact, there you go. There's maybe a screenshot. Man, it is always raining. It's always raining in this game now. I can turn my rain probability down more. It's already down pretty low. but I have yet to get any kind of like conclusive proof that it rains more in the Pacific Northwest than it does in, like, say, Arizona, regardless of where you have the slider. Like, the slider changes the... What's the problem? Is our brake on? Okay, that was strange. Right? You see what I'm getting at? I'm not moving the slider. Is there still, regardless of where the slider is set, is there still a higher probability of rain in the Pacific Northwest? Because it seems to always be raining in my videos lately. I don't get it. I don't get it. But so it goes. And we're right at 30 minutes. So let's start looking for a place to pull in. We don't necessarily need to sleep, but we can at least pull over and end the video, and then we'll pick it up again next week and head down into, where are we going? Where did we? Oh, Coos Bay. Yeah, we said. Okay. Maybe we got a little place up ahead here. Yeah. Could be a Walmart. Trucks. That's Bay. Yeah, let's see if we can pull in here to the right. I'm almost positive we can. It's highlighted. That means we drove down there one time before. It is a Walmart depot. Fantastic. Let's get pulled in here. We'll end the video, and we'll pick it up next week. Carefully. I do like the way the water reflections look on the road in DX11. Super, super pleased about that.
Please make a U-turn when possible.
Oh, I'll make a U-turn. Yeah, you know what? I'll get this flipped around off camera. No need to get too fancy. Here we go. Pulling right in here. Right through here.
Never mind. I'll find it.
Delivering only. Yeah, let's pull right in here. Don't hit the curb. Don't hook the box. Beautiful. So we'll pull right in here. And then next episode, we'll just back it up. Yeah. Perfect. There you go. Right. Set the brake. There you go, folks. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of American Truck Simulator. We'll see you next time. Take care now.